What's up, DC Nation? Back to another video, and guys, today we're checking out Zero Hour, alright? One of DC's Crisis events. They've got many different Crisis events. I think they had like Crisis on one world, Crisis on two worlds, then they had Crisis on Infinite Earths, now they have Zero Hour, and then after that they had like multiple others like Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, they had Dark Knight's Metal, Convergence, we're not even gonna reference Convergence, and then now we're going on like Death Metal. They have so much stuff going on. But you got one of you guys, actually, one of my subscribers. I always appreciate you guys when you actually give me some feedback. And when you guys ask, hey, can you go over Zero Hour, right? I want to hear your thoughts on it. And I'm actually going to go over it, right? Now, the reading order of this one, I looked it up, it's like 52 issues, alright? Now you're probably like, wait, 52 videos on this thing is going to take forever. So what I decided to do, instead of going over all those tie-ins, it's actually, I read them all, alright? That's why this video is kind of like way out after one of you guys actually gave me that like recommendation, because you guys actually told me like a month ago, hey, can you go over this? So over that time, I've been reading the whole story, going over it, and trying to figure out how to approach this whole event, alright? And I'll give my own thoughts on the whole thing by the end. This will only be a 5-episode series, alright? 5-video series, alright? I'm only going to be going over like the main series, issue number 4 through 0. Yeah, guys, this series goes backwards. It starts at issue number 4, then it goes to issue number 3, then issue number 2, 1, then 0. And actually, I may go over like the aftermath of this whole event, like there's a couple issues of that. I may go over that, but other issues like a Batman issue, or like a Batman the Outsiders issue, or like pretty much like a Legion of Superheroes issue, those issues are cool. But a lot of those issues, when I was reading and then going to the main series, it was just kind of like, oh, what was this character doing right before this event? It doesn't really tie into the event at all. It's more like, oh, hey, did you hear that Batman did this like a couple hours before this whole thing went to crap? Like Zero Hour, you see pretty much the end of time, you see the end of the past, you see a lot of stuff going down, but it's kind of like a self-contained story. Yes, I know you're going to say, wait, but Batman Nightfall, Death of Superman's reference. Yeah, there's more so you gotta know. But all these different tie-ins throughout the event, you don't really need to check them out. Green Lantern Outjoy is a big part in this. We also got like Mark Waid's Flash, which that's another thing. I'm going over Mark Waid's Flash series that actually ties into this event right now. I actually just released the Born to Run storyline. I made 2 videos out of that. You guys can check it out down below. I'll put it in the description. But we'll eventually get to the tie-in of that. But I feel like all the tie-ins would make this whole event, this whole video series go on way too long. And you guys just check those out on your own, right? I may cover them in the future, but a lot of them they're not super important. They're just tie-ins. Where you compare it to, say, like Death Metal going on right now. Like Trinity Crisis, that's super important to the story. It shouldn't be a tie-in, but if I was covering it, like, say, like, many years in the future, like, I was just starting a YouTube channel and I decided to do Death Metal, I would actually go over Trinity Crisis, I would go over those, because they're very important. Where compared to Zero Hour, I feel like just going over the 5 issues, that's good enough, right? Because they actually tell us a story, and I'll probably, like, certain stuff that's referenced in other issues, I can go over in a matter of, like, seconds, guys, for you, right? So I feel like there's a better way to approach it, just going over the main series, starting out with issue number 4, and I'll actually enjoy it a lot more. But yeah, guys, without further ado, let's dive into issue number 4, the very first issue of Zero Hour, Crisis in Time. Guys, can I just say, Crisis in Time, that is such a 90s name. It's actually a really cool title that when I was reading this, I was like, Crisis in Time. That's a dope name, alright? But yeah, guys, let's dive in. How this issue opens up is we see Earth's distant future, 32 hours ago, the end of time. Now we see Trapper, this one guy at the end of time, he's just running. He's like, no one defeats me here. This is my domain, and then somebody says, shut up, Trapper, and Trapper gets blasted. Now what we next see is this person says, all you omnipotent types do pretty much a talk about your authority, your wanted powers, while you're getting your butts kicked. And then this Trapper guy says, you can't do this. And then this other guy, who is the main villain of the series, says, sure I can, Trapper, watch me. And they says, you had your chance, all of you did, it's my turn now, my turn to make things right. They just blast Trapper into like this void and says, time is on my side. Now you see Trapper go into this void and get just disintegrated. This guy, this big being, gets just killed like that. Now, this other guy says, interesting place, the end of time. Entropy crushes all energy, all life. From here you can look back on all that is and all that was and change it. And then he says, easy to do if you know how. The cosmos is in agony, and I'm the only one who knows how it should be. The countdown has begun. The countdown to Zero Hour. Now, that's how this issue opens up. And guys, by the way, this whole series is written by Dan Jurgen and actually pretty much drawn by him. He's actually helped by another artist, but I feel like Dan Jurgen just pretty much does most of the heavy lifting in the series, and he is a great writer. I actually really like him. But in this opening scene, guys, Trapper get killed is a big deal, but this other guy just rewriting reality is interesting start to the series. It starts out on like a really very epic note, alright? But continuing, what we see is then in Apocalypse. Yeah, guys, Apocalypse. It says Apocalypse light years from Earth 30 hours ago. And you see Darkseid. It's like, Metron? I thought you far too obsessed with your studies of time and space to indulge in social visits. So like, what, you just come in over here and say what's up? Like, you never do that. And then Metron's like, this is no social visit. Something is terribly wrong. And it says, it should be possible, but our very universe, even time itself, appears to be unraveling. We must act. And then Darkseid says, impossible. I would have been aware of such an occurrence. You have finally lost your senses. And then Metron says, I haven't time to argue. I must find allies. So guys, Metron, just how pretty much the Harbinger and other characters in Crisis on Infinite Earths, pretty much Metron is that recruiting person, alright? He's not the only one though. There's another character called Wave Rider in this series, in this opening issue. Pretty much both these characters are recruiting heroes to save time. Now we shift to Gotham City 69 hours ago. And you see the Joker, guys. Yes, of course the Joker is in this event. And he's running. He's like, can't even get away with murder in this town. Not that I ever could, but I usually get 1 or 2 in before the Bat would show up. And he smiles. He's like, okay, cool. I love going against the Bat. We know that, guys, as a Joker. If you know the Joker, he loves going against the Bat. But turns out it's Batgirl. And this Batgirl says, your bloody nights are over, Joker. And Joker says, huh? That voice? That's not. And then she says, one of these days, Arkham will find a way to keep you locked up. And then Joker says, Batgirl, is this some kind of joke? And then we see Batman and Robin show up. Now we see Batman says, Bart, Batgirl, and then there's Tim Drake Robin. Now guys, you don't remember, pretty much there's Dick Grayson Robin, and then obviously before this we had Jason Todd, who got hit by a crowbar like multiple times, and he got killed by the Joker killed him, and the Batman got Tim Drake. So Tim Drake is the Robin in this part of the story, but you're probably like, wait, this is set after Death of the Family. It's also set after Killing Joke, right? So how is Batgirl not crippled? Well, Batman asks that same question. And what happens here is you see Batman, he's like, you're healthy again. And Tim Drake says, she looks okay to me, really okay. And Batgirl says, what's wrong? You're acting like I was sick or injured, but I'm fine, always have been. Batman says, but you were shot, paralyzed years ago. And then she says, not me, I've never been shot. By the way, who's your new partner? He seems younger than the Robin I remember. And then Joker says, I'd love to stay and continue this reunion, but you've obviously had things to discuss that don't include me. Now, he then pretty much hits a smoke bomb to the ground. And he says, it's time for me to fly. And then Batgirl, she covers her eyes. She says, flash grenade, I can't see a thing. So it wasn't a smoke bomb, it was actually a flash grenade. Now Batman says, I must be exhausted, paying too much attention to you. Where's that maniac? You see Joker, he's pretty much going into a helicopter, and he says, up here, Bats, what's wrong? Not as quick as that imposter you had running around. And Bats says, helicopter, too far away, no way to follow him. And then he says, we'll hunt him down later. There's other work to be done first. Something is definitely wrong here. And then Batman says to Batgirl, you should be here, Batgirl. You should be older. If you're here, I can't help wondering if anything else is amiss. And Tim Drake looks in the distance. Now, a few questions you guys probably haven't if you haven't read the story before. Well, when Joker said that Batman isn't like that imposter that was running around, well, this whole event is set after Batman Nightfall. Now, if you don't know, that whole event is where Batman got his back broken by Bane. And you know who took over? It was Azrael, aka John Paul Valley, and he became the new Batman, right? Now, he was a more deadly Batman. He had no mercy. He had a really awesome costume, though. I really love that storyline. Honestly, Nightfall, if we get through 0 Hour and you guys really like the series, I'll do Nightfall. Because I actually had the whole thing, the whole entire series in paperback, and yeah, that's actually surprising. I have some big series in paperback, but Nightfall is one of the very first ones I got, so it'd be really awesome to cover on this channel. But still, that's what Joker is referencing. We actually get a couple more Nightfall references in this book. But guys, back to Batgirl. Like, Batman obviously knows something is wrong, because Batgirl, she got shot in the Killing Joke. I actually went over the whole Killing Joke series on this channel. You can check out either in the iTab recorder right here or the description below to get caught up on that. But just showing this whole scene, Batman's confused, because he's a detective and just seeing everything amiss, he's gonna look into it, right? But Continuing, what we see is then in the vanishing point. And it says, home of the Guardians, the linear men outside the time stream. 24 hours, 49 minutes ago, Earth time input. And then with this person named Matthew say, impossible. I was using the chronoscopes to monitor the 71st century, but suddenly there's nothing to monitor. Every year has vanished as well. And then we see Waid Rider and Rip Hunter come in. They say, trouble, Matthew? And he says, trouble might be an understatement, Waid Rider. I'm not certain of this. And he says, but it seems the entire segments of time in the universe are being destroyed. And then he continues to say, this phenomenon started at the end of the time stream. It's working its way back to the beginning. And then Rip Hunter says, no, our equipment must be malfunctioning. And then Matthew says, only one way to find out, Hunter. You and Waid Rider must check it out in person. Now, by the way guys, if you don't know who Rip Hunter is, he's pretty much the guy who travels through time. And if you watch Legend of Tomorrow, like the first 2 seasons, he actually explains it. I actually really like Rip Hunter, he's a great character. And actually go check out Legends. Check out the first 2 seasons, and then go from there. But I actually think like the 2nd, 3rd season, like a little quick detour, the 2nd, 3rd season of Legends, for me, are the best. You guys tell me your favorite season of Legends of Tomorrow down below. Now, continuing, we go to 64th century, 20 hours, 42 minutes ago, and we see Wally West's Flash say, nice try, Kadabra. Use all the phony magic you want. That weird effect in the sky won't stop me from taking you out. Abracadabra says, but I didn't. And Wally West says, like I would believe a master of misdirection, shut down the light show. And then Abracadabra says, I told you, this is my doing. And then Waid Rider shows up, he says, he's telling the truth. And Wally West says, Waid Rider, oh? And then Waid Rider says, you're seeing far more than a light show, Flash. He says that rift of drain entropy is destroying reality as we know it. So guys, pretty much this reality thing is coming through Central City, and Wally West does not know what's going on. He just thinks that Abracadabra is doing something, as always, like something bad, right? He's just gonna stop it. Now guys, we then see Waid Rider says, I never assumed anything like this was possible. This force is working its way back through the time stream, simultaneously wiping out time and space. And he says, I have the powers to glide the winds of time with a casual thought. Yeah, I can't come close to closing this rift. Now, Rip Hunter says he can't nullify it. What now? And then Abracadabra says, I know something about science and time travel. Flash might be the solution. And Wally says, me? What do you mean? And then Rip Hunter says, his speed, a whiplash effect. And Kadabra says, exactly. You must race away from the rift fast enough to create your own vortex. The double back through it at ultimate speed. Right into the heart of the rift, which may cause a powerful shockwave that will collapse it. And Wally says, no problem. Now, he starts running, he's like, ultimate speed? How fast is that? It's a line I haven't approached, haven't dared cross. Creating a vortex, that's easy stuff. Going back through it, and then he starts running. He's feeling a lot of harm on him. He's feeling a lot of pain. And he says, create shockwaves, no problem, but ultimate speed, right into the rift? What Kadabra's wrong? If he dies too. Have to push harder, run faster. Now Rip Hunter says, not again, not another Flash. Now this is a very important moment, guys, because if you don't know, Barry Allen, the original, well, not the original Flash, Jake Garrick is the original Flash, but the second Flash, Barry Allen, died in Crisis on Infinite Earths running, exactly what Wally is doing here. Now, if you're reading this back in the day, if I was reading this, I'm guessing someone would just be like, okay, they're not going to kill him off. They just killed off Barry Allen in the last Crisis. Well, you'd be wrong, because Wally then dies. Now, how this is set up, you see him running, and Wally's like, faster than sound, light speed. And Waid Rider says, Flash, this is a suicide run. And Wally says, I can do this. It's sucking me in, making me go faster. Can't even see anymore. So painful. And then Waid Rider says, my hand went right through him. And you see Wally slowly vanish. And then, at this part, he's like, no, too fast, pulling me farther. And then it ends. A heroic effort fails. 3,000 years from now, Earth dies. The entire universe ceases to exist. All energy is gone. There are no witnesses, no one alive to tell the tale. Now you see Waid Rider, he grasps through the Flash. Wally West is gone. And they continues, except two who find safety by traveling into the past. Their sorrow and the grim evidence they carry makes for a solemn journey. Now you see Rip Hunter and Waid Rider, they're the guys who are traveling through time. And then Rip Hunter says, what now? And then Waid Rider says, we failed to stop the rift. In honor of the man who wore this costume, we must try again. Now guys, this whole scene shocked me, alright? The first time I read it, I was like, what? They just killed Wally. Like, who kills Wally off? And now I'm gonna go on another quick detour, like, which Flash I think is better, Barry or Wally? Now, when I just got into reading the Flash, so I actually started a New 52 Flash, with the art by Francis Mayapol. Looked amazing. I actually really liked that series, but that was the first series I started out with, so I liked Barry more, so that's the character I knew about, right? Now, thing I didn't know about, I actually thought that Barry Allen was the Flash in Justice League Unlimited and Justice League the animated series, but it was actually Wally. So at the time, I was like, okay, Barry's better. Now, I started going more into it and seeing Barry in the TV show, CW show of The Flash, I was like, man, Barry's way more better. Wally's just overhyped, right? Before Wally fans start getting mad at me, let me say again, at first, alright? At first, I thought Wally was overhyped. Now, I started going back, read Mark Waid's run, I'm actually going over on this channel right now, and I started reading more stuff about Wally. And honestly, it's getting close. I'm starting to think that Wally's better. And seeing Wally die here, I was like, no, you keep, okay. You got me mad about killing Barry, but you kill out Wally West? Like, no. But honestly, Wally comes back, right? He doesn't stay dead for a long time, like 20 years like Barry, but still it's a shocking death of the first issue in the series. Now, this issue continues, you see Batman and Superman meet up. Now, Batman says, you came with your city and phone lines destroyed. I had no way of contacting you. High-pitched sonic bursts were necessary to attract your attention. And then Superman says, I guess a broken back can't dampen Batman's resourcefulness. And then Batman says, my injuries weren't nearly as serious as yours. And Superman says, it's been quite a year for both of us. What's up? Now, guys, if you don't know what happened, I already told you about Batman. He got his back broken by Bane, so he had a pretty messed up year, right? Now, Superman, he got killed. He got killed by Doomsday in the whole Death of Superman arc, which is actually really cool. And I'd be cool about actually going over that on this channel too. You guys recommend it. If you guys like, hey, you want me to cover it? I will. But still, Death of Superman, Nightfall, all in like 1 year is actually a really crazy year. And then DC was like, man, these world's finest heroes, all these heroes have gone through a lot. Now, let's put them through a crisis. Like, imagine being these DC heroes. Like, man, I just got my back broken, that's what Batman's thinking. I just died, Superman, and now we gotta deal with the crisis in time. They can catch a break. Now, as we continue, Batman says something very strange is happening in Gotham. People from the past are appearing, as though some time anomaly was. And then Metron shows up. Not a time anomaly, a cosmic crisis. If we don't act soon, our worlds, our universe will be gone forever. Now, Superman says, Metron. Now we shift, and we see Wave Rider and Rip Hunter going through time, and then we see Wave Rider said, we caught up to the disaster. We have another chance to stop it. Now Rip Hunter says, looks like somebody's trying to beat us to the punch. And we see Hal join Green Lantern. Now, that's when we see all three of them team up with Wave Rider still carrying Wally West's costume. And we see Hal Jordan say, I don't know what your capabilities are, but if you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. That's when Wave Rider says, if you fire energy into the rift, it only becomes stronger. Now, Rip Hunter says, wait, this is so familiar. Why didn't I make the connection before? And then Wave Rider says, what connection, Hunter? If you know something, you got to tell us. Now, that's when Wave Rider says, quickly, Hunter, before it pulls us all in. And then we see Hal Jordan get pulled in. He says, no, he dies. And then we see Rip Hunter's like, a crisis. Check the chronoscopes, a crisis, and then he dies. Now, Wave Rider says he's gone. I will be too if I don't hurry. Now, he runs out before the vanishing point can hit him. Now, he runs out, and then he's pretty much going through the time stream again, and he's like, what does Rip Hunter mean in a crisis? What is that? Now, that's when we go to Earth 21 hours ago, 38 minutes ago, and then we see Hawkman fight off against Vandal Savage, and he says, Savage, you think being immortal excuses you from society's rule? The Just Society has stopped your evil before, and we will again. Now, that's when Vandal Savage is like, by the infinite, what's happening to you? And then, all these like 6 different Hawkmen show up from across time, guys. So something is very wrong time. And they all say, what are you talking about? I'm fine. Now, Vandal Savage says, I think not, Hawkman. Something is most definitely wrong. Now, we shift and we see Kyle Rayner. And it's like, too much is happening. Alex's death, have to find out what they did with her. And that's actually Kyle Rayner's girlfriend. You guys, you don't know about Kyle Rayner's girlfriend, what happened to her. I'll talk about that in another video. It's pretty messed up. But still, we continue, and we see that pretty much Metron shows up. He says, sorry to interrupt. And Superman says, I brought a friend, Green Lantern. And Metron says, I am Metron. Your assistance is required. And Kyle Rayner says, cool here. Any friend of Superman's is somebody I can deal with. What's the word? Now, Metron says, your ring, combined with the power of my mobius chair, must communicate with all of Earth's heroes. Now, Kyle Rayner says, yeah, like I know how to do that. And Superman says, just use your ring to create a projection of me, Kyle. And that's what Superman continues to say. Metron will guide your ring's energies to the proper points. Now, Kyle says, you got it. Now, that's when we see all these heroes get contacted by Superman. And Superman just basically says, A man named Metro has guided my image to each of you through his Mobius chair, which can set your energies. We face a great disaster. Impossible as it sounds, the universe is dying. I need you all of you to combat this threat. Earth's distant future is dying. The cause is eating its way back through time. We know of nothing that can stop it. And then we see him continue. He pretty much contacts different heroes like Aquaman, the Titans, the Teen Titans, Superboy, the Atom, the Ray, the two Dr. Fates, Ken Nelson, the woman Dr. Fate. And then we have the Outsiders, which has Geoforce and Katana, Green Arrow. Now that's when we shift back to Kyle Rayner and Superman, and Kyle says, did it work? Did you get hold of all the big guns? And Superman says, I think so. Now that's when Metron disappears, and he says, I take leave of you now. There is one other I must contact directly. Now Kyle says, we're guys. Superman says, wait until you meet some of the others. Now they go through a portal, and then we see Metron meet up with the Spectre. Now guys, this is a really cool moment because the Spectre, he's a big character in Crisis, and he's a really powerful character. So obviously he needs to be contacted with this whole crisis going on. Now Spectre says, why are you seeking me out? And Metro says, you know the approaching disaster. Spectre says, natural disasters do not concern me. My mission is directed only against evil. Now that's when Metron says, you are near, your powers are so mighty that you may be the key to our victory. Now Spectre says, your struggles with the laws of nature are of little matter to me, Metron, be gone. Now that's when we shift and we see Wave Rider showing up back in the vanishing point. It says, a crisis hunter said, I have not heard of such a thing, but there's much my studies of time have not yet revealed to me. Was it in the distant past or the very future? The chronoscope shall reveal the secret. Access crisis event. Now that's when the Wave Rider looks at this crisis event, he's shocked. Now that's when we shift and we see Hawkman back in the past, and he says, took you long enough to get here. We said Justice Society show up. Jay Garrick, Wildcat, and Atom Smasher, Dr. Midnight, and obviously Hourman. Now, that's when Jay Garrick says, time's caught up to me, old friend. I just can't run like I used to. Now, Veil Savage says, the other Hawkmen, they disappeared. That's when Atom Smasher says, you know how it is. You get old, you start seeing things. Now, Hourman says, and he's as old as they come. So pretty much saying that Veil Savage, he's just crazy. He's seeing things. But that's when Green Lantern, Alan Scott, shows up, and he's younger. That's kind of weird, right? He's younger. He's usually older. And he says, you folks get that message from Superman, and Hawkman says, Green Lantern, you look different. And Veil Savage says, they must be here, someplace hiding. And Hawkman says, this guy's losing his mind. And Savage says something is wrong. And that's when he disappears, gets deleted from reality. And Hawkman says, Savage. And then Veil Savage says before he dies, it's taking me, eating me alive. And he says, help me. And that's when Alan Scott says, he's gone. My ring can't trace him either. And Atom Smasher says, hey Alan, how'd you get so young all of a sudden? And that's when we see Wave Rider show up. Why didn't I know? Why didn't anyone tell me? And Hawkman says, now what? Now that's when Atom Smasher says, it's that Wave Rider guy. And Hawkman says, isn't he a time traveler? Maybe he made Savage disappear. And Wave Rider says, don't you see? Time is dying at both ends. When the past died, he ceased to exist. And then Jake Garrett says, this costume, what are you doing with it? He says he sees the Flash costume. And then Wave Rider shows Jay Garrick what happened to Wally West. And Jay says, Wally, not Wally too. Now this is a really sad moment, guys, because Jay Garrick lost Barry Allen and now he loses Wally West. Like, being a Flash fan, reading this, you're like, wow. It's probably the best moment in the issue, right? But guys, how this issue ends is then you go back to the vanishing point, right? And you see this man named Extant and come through. And he says, mayhem, madness, chaos. And now it's mine. Now that's how the issue ends, guys. So we got another villain going on with this. Like, he's actually one of the villains in the series. But we got another villain that caused all this, and a lot of stuff going on. Pretty much all time is just coming to an end. The end of time, the beginning of time is ceasing to exist, and it's me up in the present. But now with all these heroes gathered together, it's gonna be really awesome, guys. But I feel like the biggest moments of this issue are Wally West's death, seeing the Spectre just decline all of existence, being like, oh, you need my help? Yeah, screw you. I'm cool with everything, just get deleted. And then Veil Savage's death. Like, there's a lot of big moments in this issue. And I actually really like this first issue. Like, starting out reading this, I was like, man, this series could be pretty good. Now, the continuity gets really confusing as the series goes on, but this very first issue, it actually has a pretty good pace. It's actually really well paced, alright? And guys, I'm overall gonna give it 8.5 out of 10. I do recommend it, guys, this first issue. And guys, stay tuned for my next video in the series, which will be issue number 3. And then we'll go issue number 2, 1, then 0, and that'll be it. But yeah, guys, like, comments below, tell me about this issue. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think about Wally West's death? Like, all you Wally fans, what do you think about that? Like, I was shocked. And then what about everything else that happened in this issue? And are you guys excited for the series, right? If I get a lot of feedback, then I'll release the second video as soon as possible. If you guys like the video, give me a big thumbs up. You should make subscribe to my next 0 hour video. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.